Hey guys, welcome to another episode of MindTalk, a safe place where we have discussions on mental wellness. For those of you returning to the channel, I would like to welcome you back. And for those of you who are new to this channel, I would like to welcome you, and I would like to hope that this information you are getting from this channel is beneficial to you. The focus of this season is bipolar disorder. Throughout this season, I've been giving you an insight of bipolar disorder, such as the type of bipolar there is. There are three types. Type 1, which is predominantly hypomanic behavior. Type 2, which is predominantly depressive behavior. And cytothymic disorder, which is basically a combination of hypomania symptoms and depressive symptoms, but in less severe cases as opposed to bipolar type 1 and bipolar type 2. So last week we focused on the symptoms of bipolar type 1, which is hypomanic behavior or hypomanic episodes, and we discussed the different traits that someone who is experiencing hypomania will exhibit. This week we are going to talk about bipolar type 2 and its symptoms. Once again, my credible source will be from the Mayo Clinic, one of the largest integrated non-profit medical group practices in the world. So let's start by giving you some insight on the severity of a major depressive episode. A major depressive episode includes symptoms that are severe enough to cause noticeable difficulty in day-to-day activities, such as work, school, social activities, or relationships. Now, for those who have been following the podcast, if you can remember our interview with Mr. Hanif Benjamin, the clinical psychologist and traumatologist, he mentioned that the symptoms of bipolar, whether it's bipolar 1 or bipolar 2, can reach to very severe stages that can affect your quality of life. Also, someone who is experiencing bipolar at a severe stage is at risk of causing harm to themselves and others around them. So these symptoms that we're going to talk about today are attributed to a major depressive episodes. And it's said here that a major depressive episode includes 5 or more of the symptoms that we're going to talk about today. So the first symptom is basically the main symptom of a depressive episode, and that is depressed mood, which is feeling sad or empty or hopelessness or tearful. And they also said here in teens and children, depressed mood can appear as irritability. And it's very important that they mention that depressed mood can appear as irritability, because for me, that is how I express my depressed mood. Yes, I've had feelings of, hopelessness or feeling empty, sad, or even tearful at some times. But that is when I'm by myself. That is when I'm free to express my vulnerability or be vulnerable in that way. And I wouldn't do that in public. So if I'm experiencing a depressive episode, how I explained it to my psychiatrist, it's been like an underlying irritable mood. Like things will piss me off or annoy me, or I'll be irritated by simple things, like if something is too loud, if light is too bright, if I have to repeat myself more than once. And it really affected my day-to-day life with my peers. because they will actually be feeling the brunt of my depressive episode or irritability. And for them who may not know what I'm going through, it would be strange. It would be a strange behavior for them, because I would come off as grumpy or annoyed, and I wouldn't have any real reason or any excuse for being in that mood. So from the perspective of my peers, I would be coming off like a total asshole, and I would have no justification for my behavior. So I will just have to accept that I am being seen as an asshole. I've been told that Chris, he's a real asshole, you know. And for majority of that time, I had no idea what was going on with me. I had no idea why I was so moody. I had no idea what pissed me off. I couldn't identify anything. All I knew is that I am either annoyed or irritated. And being undiagnosed, you just have to, you know what you will do. You just have to live with that until your mood change, and that's what I basically did. So putting yourself in that position, or seeing it from your perspective, you can realize how serious that a depressive mood can actually be. Another symptom of a major depressive episode is loss of interest or feeling of no pleasure at all. Now, this is a symptom that I have also experienced throughout my depressive episode. For me, it is like not feeling to do anything, not feeling to go out, not feeling to socialize, not feeling to take part of any activities. And with this, it comes with isolation, isolating yourself, not going outside, not answering your phone or replying to text message until whenever you come out of your funk or your mood that you're in. And this is one of the symptoms that I've actually experienced. And again, I have no reason for that behavior, or can't even explain to anyone what I was going through at that time. You would get the talk from your peers. Oh gosh, you just so you turn an old man, and what's going on with you? You want to do nothing, just so you just not fun no more and stuff like that. Because I was very sociable at a point in time, and I guess as my symptoms of bipolar progress, I actually started to isolate myself more and lost interest in a lot of things and pleasure. And I actually thought that it was a result of me getting older. I really thought that, you're getting older and you don't have any interest in the things that you used to before, like hanging out with friends and stuff like that. However, after being on medication, I've actually regained interest in things like seeing my friends or taking part of activities, joining groups and other social activities. So it has become apparent to me that what I've been experiencing those years ago was actually a symptom of my bipolar disorder, particularly my depressive episode. So the next symptom of a major depressive episode is weight loss when not dieting, weight gain, or decrease or increase in appetite. Now, I really don't think that this is one of the symptoms that I've experienced, because no matter what I'm going through, I will never break up my relationship with food. Right? That is one thing for sure. Right? And I don't want you to think that this means this symptom means that you're going through a depressive episode, I will lose weight, or you're going through a depressive episode, gaining weight, or bloating up, or anything like that. There's a method behind it. Now, when you sometimes being depressed, you can either not have an appetite, so you're not feeling hungry, and as a result you will not be eating. So that is where the weight loss stems from. And weight gain, for others who are depressed, they turn to food as a comfort. They turn to food at wait. Wait, okay. Huh. Okay. I may have been going through this. I may have been experiencing this symptom, but just to be safe, I would say no. However, yeah, when I'm in my isolation stage, I make many trips to that fridge. I would not lie. And yeah, I have gained weight in a short period of time. We, like everyone else, I blamed it on COVID. But this needs to be explored a little more. But okay, so besides the fact, yes, so significant weight loss or weight gain or decrease or increase in appetite. That's one of the major depressive episode symptoms. Okay. Another symptom is either insomnia or sleeping too much. And this is another symptom that I've experienced during my depressive episodes. And what is good, what is now enlightening to me is that I can remember and now identify when I've been in my depressed mood, because I am associating these symptoms that I experienced during my isolation stages, when I lost interest in social activities and really like isolating myself from my peers and not going out and all those stuff. I've experienced, I am remembering experiencing these other symptoms along with that. So I've experienced both insomnia and sleeping too much, or excessive sleep, I would call it. Some nights I will be really restless. Therefore, I will be sleeping and awaken in intervals. So I'll sleep for 2 hours in the night and then wake up again for 2 hours, and until my brain actually gets really, really tired, I will sleep from probably 4 all the way up to 11 o'clock in the morning. Also with that, on some days, when you're in isolating yourself, you have a lot of time to yourself, you will be inclined to just lie down in your bed, seek the comfort of your bed, and just sleep the day away. And that is still one of my favorite pastimes. Medication or not, treatment or not, that is still one of my favorite pastimes. If I have nothing to do, I do not mind just going back to my bed and sleeping away the day. I believe a lot of people really do enjoy that. But I have experienced insomnia and excessive sleep throughout my isolation stages. Another symptom is either restlessness or slowed behavior. With restlessness, it means just being uneasy, not hyperactive, not being unable to sit still, or you will always have this feeling to be in movement, but just an uneasy feeling. Like, I would associate it with irritability, because in my state of irritability, I am also restless. I am also uneasy. I'm not feeling, calm, basically. And I believe that actually enhances my irritability, because you have no idea why, or you can have no explanation for why, you're feeling uneasy. And that in itself will, cause you to be even more pissed off or more annoyed, because you don't know why. That's basically it. You don't know why. You have no idea why. So that's why I associated my symptom of restlessness with irritability. And slowed behavior is basically a lethargic way of living. I would say that's a product of losing interest in things, and also feelings of no pleasure. Because when you're in that mood, you get very despondent, and that actually, impacts your behavior, impacts how you move day-to-day life. There's no urgency to do anything. There's no urgency to complete a task. Everything is just low energy and low vibrations. Next on the list for major depressive episode symptoms is feeling of worthlessness or excessive or inappropriate guilt. Here's yet another symptom that I have experienced during my depressive episode. So basically it is very straightforward. Feeling of worthlessness. You're feeling worthless, you're feeling hopeless, you're feeling like, you're not good enough, you feel like you can't do anything right, you feel like nothing is going your way. And along with that comes the excessive or inappropriate guilt. Your mind can constantly replay things that you're feeling guilty for. And sometimes it's very minute things, like you saw someone, and you saw someone in the street and they spoke to you, and this is some of my experiences. You saw someone in the street and they spoke to you, but you can't remember who it was, and they said this, they said something like, "You can't remember me," and I'm like, "No, I can't really remember you," or whatnot. They would tell you, the name, and you would leave that situation, and a normal person wouldn't even think of that instant. But for me, when I get home and I sit by myself, I would feel like really bad that I didn't remember the person's name, and I would think about how they feel that I didn't remember the name, and if I would really obsess over small little things. Because when you're in that worthless mood, you tend to think not only that you're worthless, but you are a problem. That is what it can develop into. So for little instances that you see you are the fault of it, you may obsess over it. I would be here in my personal time, when the day is done and I'm here by myself, or in a space where I can be vulnerable, replay these instances in my mind like a horrible movie. And for me, that is basically how that symptom of worthlessness and inappropriate guilt has been. The next symptom is decreased ability to think or concentrate, or indecisiveness. This is generally the symptom that I've actually sought out treatment or some kind of help for, because to be honest, I knew something was wrong with me, and but however, I actually thought it was ADHD, and the decreased ability to think or concentrate is actually a major symptom of ADHD, attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder, because for a major part of my life, and I am talking about since teens, I've had issues staying focused or being easily distracted, and it's gotten so bad that you can even hear it in my speech. You can hear you can hear, if you and for those who've been listening to my podcast, you can hear it in my speech. You can hear that my brain is processing a thought, or my brain is processing thought at a slower pace than a normal person would. And that is really the reason why I sought out treatment, or I sought out help. That is the reason why I went to the mental clinic, because I really thought it was ADHD. However, after speaking to my psychologist, he ruled out ADHD because some of my symptoms were not, some of the symptoms of ADHD wasn't apparent based on what I've described. However, what he assured me is that indecisiveness and the decreased ability to think or concentrate is a result of racing thoughts in my mind. And what he said made sense, because for me, yes, it may sound a bit like, my brain is processing things at a slower pace, but in actuality, what is happening, or what I know is happening, is that in my head there are more than one thoughts or things like I want to say, or for example, for a sentence, I may be thinking of ways to say it in probably 3 different ways and having difficulty choosing one. So that don't only cause a delay in like my speech or thinking or from my head, it also cause me to sometimes jumble up words and sentences that may come out a little incoherent. And as I said, if you're listening to my podcast from the beginning, where I was very nervous, you can actually hear it in my speech. You can actually hear the delay in my thoughts. Very insightful, like actually doing the research on this, and listening, and being advised by my psychologist. I've had a lot of moments, or okay, now I understand what I was actually going through, or what I've been experiencing. And finally, the last symptom, thinking about, planning, or attempting suicide. This is a topic where I've never really discussed with anyone before, really. Besides my psychiatrist, when he was doing his assessment, I did mention thoughts of suicide, and I will tell you why I would never really speak on it. Number one, you don't really get a platform to talk about, you're having suicidal thoughts. You wouldn't really put that out there, at least not for me. Like, I will always have this facade in front of my friends and family that I am all right, that I am okay. They won't really see or identify that something is going wrong, that something is going on with me, or something is wrong with me. But they would see small signs like my irritability. They would see my mood changes when I'm upset or annoyed, and they would just perceive that as me being moody, or as I said earlier, just Chris being an asshole. But they would never understand the depths of what I've been going through. However, in a space where I am able to be vulnerable, and that is only by myself, when I'm by myself, I let everything go. And as to why suicidal thoughts wasn't really a concern for me, or a reason for me to immediately seek help, is because it wasn't, the thought process wasn't, I'm going to do it, I'm going to end my life. My thought process with being suicidal is that I did not want to be here anymore. Not necessarily that I want to end myself. I did not want to be here anymore. I did not want to be on earth. I did not see my purpose of being here. I did not see the need for me being here. And at that time, or before seeking help, I did not understand what it is. However, after speaking to my psychiatrist, I found out that suicide is actually a spectrum, and where I was at that point in time was actually suicidal ideation, which is actually the thought of dying, or the thought of not being here, with no actual plan to actually commit suicide. And as I said, I never thought of killing myself or ending my life. But the thought in my mind was, if something was to happen to me, I would take it with grace. Okay, guys, I had to take a moment. I had to just take a moment. And coming back, I actually really don't think I can finish this podcast. Well, actually, I don't think I could speak more on it. However, that was actually the final symptom of a major depressive episode. So going through, well, at the beginning, they mentioned that if you have 5 or more, well, a major depressive episode includes 5 or more of the symptoms that I discussed, and I have experienced, or I can safely say that I experienced depressive moods, loss of interest, significant weight loss or weight gain that is still to be determined, so I would not count that in. Insomnia and too much sleep, that's 3. Restlessness or slow behavior, that's 4. feelings of worthlessness or excessive or inappropriate guilt. That's 5. Decreased ability to think. That's 6. And thinking about planning or attempting suicide. That's 7 out of the 8 symptoms that I listed that I've experienced. And as I said, aha moments where I've, doing my research, talking to my psychiatrist, I have realized, or I'm now able to I'm now aware of what I've been experiencing. Treatment has helped a lot. I am not like 100%. I still experience these symptoms. However, since seeking treatment, it's been manageable. That's how I would describe it. It's been manageable. It's not as chaotic as it used to be. I would add that knowing exactly what is going on in my head helps, right? Even without treatment, knowing helps. That's why I would suggest, if you believe that you experience a number of these symptoms, seek medical attention. Seek professional attention. Talk to someone professionally and get the help that you need, because it helps. It helps. So guys, we have come to the end of the podcast. This has been the longest podcast that I've done since I've been doing this, and mainly because this episode was in relation to my experience with having or living with bipolar disorder. Alright, so once again, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Like this video if it was entertaining for you, or if you appreciated the knowledge given in this video. Also, don't forget our Instagram page, mindtalk.tt, where you can find more content on bipolar disorder, also promo videos of our upcoming episodes. Okay, so until next time, I would like to thank you for listening once again, and have a safe weekend, and stay happy. Most important. Goodbye.